Okay, it says I'm live. So, welcome from the crossroads of America. Talk show about guns, politics, or anything else that crosses my mind. Answer questions from the audience. Either put them in the chat box or email me at rickslifeasiseeit@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. I have a Patreon page and a PayPal thingy all down below there, and anything else you're more interested in. So there we go. I mean, we're just getting started here. So right now in the chat is only one person, and that's Jason Stewart. But I said it's early days yet. Oh, who we got in the... Here we go. Sabrina's here. So, all right. So, let me introduce my panel while I'm here. We got Squibload. How you doing?
Hey, Rick.
Good to see you. And we got Black Cat Outdoors.
Evening, afternoon, whatever the hell it is.
And we got Guns and Barbecue.
How you doing, Rick?
All right. Then we got New York Outcast if he's with us. He's popped in and out about 16 times, and he popped out again. So, all right. Are you here, New York Outcast? I guess not. He's not answering. All right. Who we got? Who's coming into the... we got Sabrina here. Midnight Rangers just joined us. Okay. I said slow start, but I expect it on a Saturday afternoon in the middle of the summer. I don't expect to get a big crowd. So, okay. Where's my thingy here? I'll start off with the second item. I don't know if you guys noticed. Did you hear the mayor of good old Chicago is blaming Indiana for her spike in gun-related deaths in her city because you can come over here and buy military-grade firearms in duffel bags and take them back to her city and to cause havoc. That is what's happening.
Yeah, they always blame Indiana, though. It's a bunch of crap. And let's say, if you ever been to Gary, Indiana, what I don't want to call it a shithole, but man, when I was driving truck, that was the last place I ever wanted to stop, and I had to sleep there like 3 times. And when I have to walk into a truck stop that has paid armed security, I know it's not a good place, but Gary is a direct result of the overflow of the crime that's coming in from Chicago. It's really vice versa, and they just try and flip it with their anti-gun agenda.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I know. Because, I mean, actually, it's, for one, I mean, we all know, I'm preaching to the choir here. For these duffel bags of firearms, you can't buy a firearm without having it sent to an FFL in the state you're from.
That's not true, Rick.
What do you mean that's not true?
You can buy a long gun.
I didn't. Okay, let me rephrase. I should have said, when I said firearm, I meant handgun. Sorry. You can't buy a handgun unless it's black powder. You have to ship it to an FFL. So, I mean, if somebody from Illinois comes to Indiana, they can buy a handgun, but they have to have it shipped to their FFL.
Oh, the whole point is she's talking about gun crime and things like that. Well, these guns aren't being bought legally in the first place, and that's a whole other issue. Doesn't matter how much they try and legislate and make different laws and whatever else. If they want to get the guns, they're going to find a way to get the guns.
Yeah.
Now wait a minute. Are you saying criminals do illegal stuff? Huh.
No. But along with this, there was also a what's call it? I think it was the FBI done a survey. I think it was the FBI. It could have even been the police department. I can't remember now. But on where guns came from that were confiscated from criminals. And I think it said 95% of them came from Illinois, stolen, you know? So that blew her theory right out of the water there. But, you know, so, all right. Who we got? Raphael's joined us. And who's Midnight Rain said Gary, Indiana is named after SpongeBob's pet snail. Little known fact. Oh. All right. But I mean, that's what I was just thinking it's crazy. I mean, this leads on to my other topic that I got a bunch, but I just put two down there. Was the Second Amendment. I mean, are we losing ground? Because just the other day, where in the hell was it? New York. The judge there said the governor's decision to close down gun stores in the state of New York supersedes the Constitution. And this is a federal judge. You know?
I would say we're losing ground if it sticks, but I foresee that being taken and somebody being sued because there's no way that's going to withstand anything.
Yeah, but what scares me is how far is it? I mean, it's only going to go so far because our Supreme Court's letting us down lately, not even picking up any cases, you know? So it seems like they don't want to make a decision on the Second Amendment. They don't want to, I don't know, upset the cancel culture, the woke crowd, you know?
I think part of the issue with the Supreme Court is they try and look at the big picture and they sit there and say, well, we didn't think that society was ready for this ruling yet. Well, you don't get to make that decision. Your job is to sit there and say this is constitutional or it's not. And just because you don't think society's ready for it, well, they're just going to have to deal with it. And they need to start taking up Second Amendment cases and just other things that they're turning down in general for reasons like that. That it's shit and they need to do their job.
The only major one they turned down was the New York case, and that's because New York retracted the law.
No, but what about the 10 that were sitting there and they turned them all down?
I don't know exactly what the cases were. Probably depends on what they were, but you have to look at the makeup of the court, too. I don't know if we have the numbers for it, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
I don't trust Roberts as far as I can throw his old fat ass.
I don't trust Roberts at all. So, I mean, right now, from what I can understand, it takes for them to pick up any case, not just 2A, any case. Normally, 4 judges have to feel that it will, that they want it. But sometimes they won't pick it up because they're not sure they're going to get that 5th vote. And I think that's why they didn't pick up any of the 2A ones, because they couldn't guarantee the 5th vote from Roberts. I mean, there was 3 cases from New Jersey to do with concealed carry, being May issue and having to have a valid reason to get a carry permit. You have to show just cause. The big one, though, was the assault weapons ban in Massachusetts, where after, I don't know, 10, 15 years, the Attorney General decided to reinterpret the law that's in Massachusetts to say that covers all assault weapons, So that one would have been a good one, because that would have put an end to this bullshit on what they call an assault weapon, But there we go. It's old news now. It ain't worth crying over spilt milk, I guess. It just, as Squib was saying in a video earlier, it's just frustrating that I feel that we're going backwards. And I guess it's leading on to what's really bothering me, since this is Rick's life as I see it. You know, is up before the pandemic.
You've got mail.
You know, all the people who are conservatives or Republicans are going, when Trump's reelected for the next 4 years, this is going to get done, this is going to get done, you know, things are going to be great. Now, they're not saying when he's going to get elected. Now they're saying if he gets elected. They're even waffling on it. So, is he... I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think he's going to get reelected? Because not that Trump is the greatest thing out there. He's not. He's far from it. But the thought of having a Democrat president, and even if it's a lead house, and we could, I mean, even though there's 38 Senate seats up for vote this time, and all the Democrats have to pick up is 6, and they could flip the Senate, which is scary. That's what I'm scared about, because the United States, as we know it, will be no longer if they get in. The scary thought is, even if Trump does get reelected, what's going to happen when he can't serve anymore? Not that I want him to be the monarch forever, but you know what I'm saying? Because normally, it very rare does a Republican, when you have a 2-term president, normally the next time it always goes to the other party. History shows it, you know? So, I don't know.
I would say it's going to depend on who Biden takes as his running mate. That's who you're basically voting for in that. If Biden picks a strong running mate, then yeah, he has a chance, because I think even most Democrats realize Biden ain't going to even make it his first 4 years the way he's going. I don't think he has it in him to make it that long. So you're basically voting for the VP.
Yes, and he has, I mean, I don't know who he's going to pick. You know?
I don't know either. Hopefully he's stupid and picks somebody that's just as unlikable as like Hillary was, but I don't know if he's going to be that. I don't know if his handlers will let him be that dumb. Let's put it that way.
But he's already backed himself in the corner on that too. I mean, early on he said he was going to pick a woman, and the last few months he was going to pick a woman of color. So that cuts his choices down right there. You know?
Is this Jill Jorgensen that I keep hearing about that he could potentially pick? Is she a white or black woman? I haven't looked into her yet.
She's a libertarian.
Yeah, but I heard that they could still try and go after her and try and sway her to be the VP pick.
If he picks a libertarian, I might vote for him. Because we might end up with a libertarian in office.
From what I hear, she's got some very good libertarian views, and if she actually runs under the libertarian ticket and you're in one of those states that, hey, it's going one way or the other and it's guaranteed, you know, why not vote for her then?
No.
The one I've heard the most word. You ever seen her? She's a senator. That's kind of like a speculation that people have. She's what? She's a female. She's a minority. She's or something to serve in the Senate.
You're breaking up on us, Black Cat.
No, Tammy Duckworth.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I said Tammy Duckworth. Yeah.
Yeah. Midnight Rain says Jorgensen is pro-gun, though, right? I don't believe she is, actually. I don't think she is pro-gun.
Then, then she's not a libertarian.
I say I don't know enough about her to throw out any facts yet.
But
if she's anti-gun and she's calling herself a oh god,
we've had this discussion before. Yes, unfortunately, the way the elites have set this up, that it's either Democrat or Republican, but this country is not set up as a two-party system. But to get that third party in there, you got to start at the grassroots. Start at the town level, the city level, the state level. Then from the state, then you get into then you win a seat in the House or the Senate. And once you get recognized, then you have a chance. But that's not going to happen in the next 4 months. It's going to take years for that to happen, unfortunately. Oh, Clovertech said she is pro-gun. She wants to get rid of the ATF and the NFA. Oh, okay. I don't know enough about her.
Well, hell, can Trump get rid of Pence and pick her up then?
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, if the only thing you got to worry about is if she runs, she could do what Ross Perot did when he did it. He took votes away from the Republican Party, and that's what put Clinton in. If I remember correctly, right? Well, if she's running, and a lot of the 2A people who are when Trump got elected, they were all for him. Now that he's not their president anymore, vote for her. Personally, I feel they're slicing their own throats. Unfortunately, as I said, much as I wouldn't like it to be that way, but right now, it is that way. Kingpin said, "Who cares if she likes guns? What about everything else she likes?" I don't know enough about her. I was hoping somebody else here had it.
With her being a libertarian, I look at everything constitutionalist-wise. Sorry, kids are right here. I don't want anybody that's going to be trampling on any of my constitutional amendments. And libertarians are pretty, don't do anything to me, and you do your thing, and limited government and whatnot. So if we can sit here and say she's definitely pro-gun, I'm willing to bet that she's pro-freedom of speech and these other things as well, and we don't have to worry about her, strengthening the NSA or crap like that.
Yeah. Clover is in the chat here. He's talking about what I was talking. He said Bush shot himself in the foot with no new taxes, and Perot hurt him more. But Trump said the assault is over, and so she certainly can hurt him. It sounds like I'm supporting him, but yes, we know what Trump has said about red flag laws. Take the guns, due process later. And we know what he did about bump stocks. He told the Justice Department to make it work, and they told to change the definition, which they did. But technically, nothing has come across his desk that's been anti-2A that he signed. Absolutely nothing. So,
So our legislators just haven't put forth an anti-gun bill or anything else that he's been forced to sign yet. But when he's sitting there saying those things, should we not hold him accountable? And honestly, would you rather have a Democratic president where firearm owners are now motivated just on the basis of, hey, this could happen, so they're paying attention more and more active in the community, and because they think, this could happen. We've got a Democrat president, as opposed to Trump got elected. They thought he was going to be the savior, and then this guy was, as you just say, we all know what he said. We all know what happened with the bump stocks and everything else. Do we think that we would have lost bump stocks if it was under Obama?
Yeah.
And Obama said that. I don't think we would have.
And I think
he would have been much more motivated.
Personally, myself, I think that is the most stupidest thing to do. Go with a Democratic president because we'd be more motivated. If the Democrats, I mean, right now, if the House or Senate, if one of those stays Republican, it doesn't matter what president you have because nothing's going to get through. Right? But if it all three turns to Democrats, you being more aware of what's happening, you don't have a fucking leg to stand on. Just like down in Virginia, all them pro 2A people and everything else, they haven't got a leg to stand on. They done their demonstration. They've had their things. They've called up their pays. But guess what? The politicians done? They signed them. They passed them on to the governor, and he signed them in. And that's what will happen at the federal level.
But you can't just sit there and say that's gonna happen. It'd be different if they had a massive majority. But if it's only a few seats difference, there are still Democrats that are going to sit there and go, whoa, if I vote for this, I'm definitely not getting reelected next year or next term. So there's still pressure that can be put there. But like I said, it also depends on, if they take a massive majority, we're screwed.
Yeah,
but
you're right. I mean, that goes back to what the other complaint people are having about Trump is, well, they didn't do anything for the first 2 years when they had the House, the Senate, and in the presidency. But you got to remember, right? To get anything passed in the Senate, you have to have 60 votes. They didn't have 60 votes. They only had a minimum majority. So they had to get some Democrats over on their side. When it comes to 2A stuff, it wasn't happening. So there you go. Clover, what do you got to say about all this?
Hey, is all this working?
We hear you fine.
All right, cool. Thanks for the invite, Rick.
No problem. We even got Kingpin in here too. So what do you think about all this, what I'm going on about? Because you're saying stuff out in the chat there.
Yeah, and that's one reason I wanted to jump in is may only be real quick, but I don't know that I typed what I meant correctly. But here's the thing with the argument about if you're not a far leftist, and that's the problem with railroading Trump on all kinds of things or whatever. Regardless, I mean, take what we don't like about Trump, which are a lot of things, and put those in a box on a shelf somewhere for a second. And then look at all the stuff they want to railroad him with. It don't make two flips who the right side of the argument picks. That side's going to complain. It doesn't matter. There's no candidate other than their candidate. And I don't even know that their candidate would make them happy. Because if we was to say, okay, we're all going to go Biden, or, oh, okay, we're all going to go whoever they choose, right? Well, Bloomberg, you pick the figurehead. And okay, we're all going to, under the banner of uniting America, we're all gonna concede, which is the vast majority of America. Let's face it, we're all gonna concede, and we're gonna go with our candidate. If that candidate did one thing that they didn't like, they would railroad him. So they're not gonna be happy with who. I'm convinced that side of the political spectrum, and granted, it's the far left. They're not gonna be happy with anybody. It don't matter who it is.
Oh, I agree with you there. I agree with you there. What are you going to say about it,
I
Kingpin?
got it.
Talk to me, Kingpin. Hit the mute button.
I don't know I don't know how many times I have to repeat the whole take the guns away first. That is such a wasted time to have an argument about that. If you have any recollection of what was happening at the time, he's talking about mass shooters and dangerous people. He wasn't talking about taking guns away from regular people. The bump stock. There's no politician on earth that wasn't going to ban the bump stock. I mean, be real about this stuff. Let's think about this stuff. I don't understand. Mitch McConnell himself, when they had the red flag law there, Rick, you remember? I bet Tony $10. I said the Republicans will pass it and Donald Trump will sign it. I owe Tony $10. I mean, I was dead wrong. Mitch McConnell said twice already, Donald Trump will not sign these anti-Second Amendment bills. That's why we don't bring them up. Mitch McConnell said that, not Sean Hannity, not Mike Pence. It frustrates me that people don't have a memory for more than 5 seconds.
Yeah. I mean, it seems to me like they're all, hemorrhaging. They're all backing away from Trump because they think he's going to lose or something. I don't know. It's fine.
I like this. I'm as Second Amendment as anybody. I'm as gun as anybody. But there's a big picture that has to go back to William Barr. Donald Trump said he was going to pick William Barr. The gun community flipped out. No way, we can't have William Barr because he's red flag. And yeah, William Barr's record and his statements and his feelings about the Second Amendment are atrocious. Without William Barr, where do you think we'd be right now? So yeah, it sucks that he hates our guns, but look at all the other positive stuff that he's done. Look at all the other stuff that he's got investigations and things uncovering, which most likely nobody's going to jail, nobody's getting in trouble, but at least they're being exposed. I mean, there's a whole lot more going on here than just whether our pew-pews are in danger or not.
And that is the problem, Kingpin. Thank you for that speech. And I'll say that's the problem because actually it's the beauty of this country. Is you're a multidimensional voter, and those people that you're talking about are single issue voters, and it's great because the single issue voters are the most passionate, and ultimately they're the people that swing the pendulum. But the vast majority of people out there, and this is what folks don't understand, are multi-issue voters.
Well, see, I find that statement. So what you're telling me, if a Democrat or a Libertarian does everything you like, you say, wow, I believe in everything they're doing. But the one thing they're adamant against, they're going to do another assault weapons ban. They're going to make it so hard for you to own a firearm. You're still going to vote for them.
Well, I think this runs into where I think some people do that. Absolutely do that. Because number one, the Second Amendment doesn't rank high on their multi-issue list. It may not even crack the top 5 for a lot of people. That's where we've got to work to make sure that, I don't necessarily have a problem if the Second Amendment is not number 1 for you as a voting issue, but the top 3, definitely the top 5, and preferably even the top 3. That's where I would like to get people at and wanting that. And then, a lot of people play the game where, just like you talked about earlier, with the balance of power, the balance of political, what am I thinking? You get what I'm saying. Democrat, Republican at this point is really all we got. But as long as the branches and everything are set up and that power is balanced, then you could play those games fairly well because you're like, well, they're going to do great on these 4 things. The Second Amendment is number 5. As long as we've got a balanced, nothing crazy is going to get through. So we don't have to worry about that. But in the instance you can't predict the future, right, Rick? And so if you play that game, you roll those dice, and you get a sweeping whatever political party across the branches. That balance is gone at that point, and so it's over. It's game over.
Ask yourself if Bill de Blasio was running for president again and he came out with everything that he believes in: Black Lives Matter, Antifa, open borders, super high taxes, lockdowns, everything Bill de Blasio believes in. But he came out today and said, "You know what? I'm going to make everyone in the country legal gun owner. I'm going to get rid of every negative 2A law. And matter of fact, I'll give a gun away to every 100th person that votes for me." Would you vote for Bill de Blasio to ruin the rest of the country because you're going to get rid of 2A laws?
Mm-hmm.
But do you think those other things would be credible? Because that's one of the things I was thinking about while Clovertac was talking about multi-issue voters. Is a lot of people would say I'm a one-issue voter, Second Amendment. What's their stance? But I look at the bigger picture too. Like, say we're talking about Biden, and I'm sitting here going, well, obviously he's not a friend of the Second Amendment or anything. And I could look and say, well, obviously we don't have Congress and Senate led by the Republicans or anything. But just hypothetically, if we did, I could sit there and say, well, we got him not being pro-gun, but we got the Republicans, and they're probably not going to put anything on his desk that it's anti-gun. What are these other issues? So if de Blasio came out and said that, man, that would be really tempting. I'd have to look at the overall landscape of what the Congress, the Senate looks like, and the country, and if he's like pro Antifa and pro Black Lives Matter and everything else, and I'm like, well, those could become real legitimate threats with him. It'd be tough. But if I'm like, I don't see those being real legitimate issues, then heck yeah, de Blasio would have my vote in a second if he said, everybody's going to be a legalized gun owner and 100% 2A. That'd be incredible. But you have to look at the whole picture.
Yeah. So here's an issue I have, right? And this is it's totally apolitical, in a sense. I mean, it has to do with founding documents and everything else. Somebody out there in the chat or on the panel, definitely jump in and give me some insight, because I don't know this. But as far as the balance of power goes and elections, okay, you've got the House, you've got the Senate, you've got the executive branch, the president, and you've got the judicial, which is suggested by the president or nominated by the executive branch and then voted on by the legislative branch, right? So the judicial is dependent in a way. It's not free in and of those two branches. So it's kind of sort of, it's not really a separate branch in a way, which is, I find is kind of weird. But even though they kind of have to agree and they're in cahoots on it. So my question is this: would we be better off? Because I think we would. Would we be better off if everything was staggered? In other words, a president comes in, he can't appoint Supreme Court judges for a year or for 2 years or for something. That gives us a buffer to see what are they going to do with the existing power structure. And then like this cycle, and this is what prompted this, and like where all these election cycles and everything, is everything based off of original documentation at this point, or is something morphed over time? Because I know the Senate has completely hate the amendment that gave popular election, the Senate popular election. That's stupid. That neutered a separation of power issue. But other than that, has anything changed? Because this cycle, we're looking at the president, which is, of course, affects the Supreme Court. And then we're also looking at over half of the senators and all of the House in one election. Well, that gives us no buffer. You feel what I'm saying? To go, okay, we've got this, power structure in play here. now we can make an informed decision on how to balance that with this election instead of this sweeping thing to where you change everybody and you don't know how it's ultimately going to end up, if I explain myself correctly.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, but the House, all 435 representatives or something like that, get reelected every 2 years. It's just, I mean, it's the way it's always been done, I believe.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's because they're supposed to be our direct representatives. We can walk into their office because they're local and address our grievances with them and have them take care of things. So if they're dropping the ball on us, well, fine. They don't have 4 years to drop the ball. They get 2, and we can get them the heck out.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, which is, to me, which is the way it should be. I mean, good example. I mean, it goes even down to state level. I mean, I don't think governors should be a 6-year term. You know, that's way too long. Especially if they're tearing the state up. But I don't know. I mean, senators are 6 years, aren't they?
Yeah.
So I mean that's a weird one. They sort of got an election and a half to sit there. I don't know.
That's the thing everybody should be pushing for is term limits. That would change everything in the whole way the politics is done in the country.
Well,
it's freaking ridiculous that somebody can be a senator for 40 years, 50 years.
Yes, I agree with you there.
That was never the way that this was designed to work. It was supposed to be a term of service, almost like military service when it was, when the inception of the country, when they thought about the way to set up the government. It's supposed to be seen as you're doing a term of service, and then you go back to your private life, and somebody else would do a term of service. It was never meant to last all that, as a career for your life.
I like the meme that's going around right now. It says, we're all mad at a billionaire who became a public servant as opposed to a public servant who's become billionaires.
Exactly.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah. Now, I understand what you're saying there about the term limits. I understand. But then on the flip side of that is the way government has got so big today and everything else, the way it runs. If people can only stay there a certain length of time, is they don't learn how it works, then they're out. Then somebody else comes. The people who are actually running the country is your federal employee,
but
not the person you voted in.
The bureaucrats is what you're talking about, Rick. The bureaucrats. Yeah.
But the people that you're saying don't learn how it works, the ones that learn how it works are the ones that are in there for 30 or 40 years. And they figure out who to schmooze and whose pockets to line and who's going to line theirs. And instead, we need to have better education in our schools about how this works in the first place. And then when we have new public officials come in, because there were term limits or whatnot, they know how things work and how things are supposed to be done and the process of making a bill. And because, I mean, honestly, how many people, if you went out on the street right now and you asked them, what's the process for making a bill and having it passed and things like that, I bet you 90% of the people that you asked would look at you dumbfounded.
It's worse than that. Ask 100 people if they know who their congressman is. Seriously, try it sometime. I've experimented and asked people throughout my day who their congressman is, who their state representative is. Ask people to name one Supreme Court justice. I guarantee you the only one they'll be able to name is whoever they voted for last. Whoever was, under the grill last. And that's only probably half the people out there. Most of the country doesn't give a crap.
Also, does anybody else want to see our country go back to no running mates? If the Republican wins, then the Democrat nominee becomes the vice president or vice versa.
Abraham Lincoln thought that was a great idea.
I don't. I don't. Because
It doesn't. You're dealing with an entire different way that the president worked back there. Then the Congress has ceded much of its power to the president's office. It used to be the way it was designed to be is the Congress was supposed to be the top dog. They were supposed to make the laws, and everybody else voted on it. The Congress is supposed to be the representative of you, me, everybody else. That's why they live in your district. Why we have districts. Why they live near you. You can speak to them. That was your representative. The Senate was the state's representative. We didn't used to vote for senators. People forget that. They were nominated by your state's legislators, your state's governors, to serve in the interest of the state. The Congress served in the interest of the people. The executive branch, the president, was just supposed to, be a checks and balance between the two. What the people wanted, what the states thought was best, and then he was the final say. That's why you voted for him. But he didn't have the power to make any laws or policies. All the laws and policies came from either the states or the people. Now they've ceded a lot of that power to the president. So back then you're looking at it didn't matter. Vice president, president wasn't as big a deal as it was today, or as it is today. Other than they were our figurehead and kind of the great decider type deal.
Yeah, it's more of the president was more, the executive branch to execute said whatever plan or legislation. And if you break down the president in county terms, that's your sheriff, plain and simple.
That's a good analogy, actually.
Yeah, that is. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, look at the president. The president has control of the military, correct? But he can't declare war and go to war, not supposed to anyway, constitutionally, without approval from Congress. So he can't utilize those without going to Congress first and saying, "Hey, we need to go here, put troops here, do this, do that." So he has access to them. They're under him, but the people and the states have to say, "Okay, you can do this."
That was the general idea of it with everything. It was supposed to be the people in the states have the final say. Now it's people don't even know who they're voting for. If you don't know who your representative is, how can you speak your mind and tell them what you want to happen in government? That was the whole point of the way they did it that way.
Yeah, that was a very intentional setup by corrupt people, is to blow the government up so big that you can't keep control of it. Because they don't want you to know who your senators are. They don't want you to know who your alderman is. They don't want you to know that every October they pass 165 different laws. That was a number I just made up, so that wasn't supposed to be factual. But they make it bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, so there's less and less and less accountability.
Yeah. Oh, Patriot in the Dark's joined us. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Sorry I'm late.
That's all right. You been listening?
No, I've been on hold for the last hour and a half.
Okay.
They were talking all kinds of stuff bad about you, Patriot, but I stood up for you every time.
I do appreciate that. The only thing I throw out there is happy birthday, Sabrina.
Oh, that's right. That's right. It's Sabrina's birthday.
It was yesterday.
I send the birthday wishes on Facebook, so
Oh.
So all right. Now I lost my train of thought. You threw me out. You really did. I was talking to your other patriot of the state of Michigan, or should I say the commie state of Michigan. Now I see you got to wear a mask, and the stores the store managers have to enforce it and call the police on you. I hear.
Yeah.
So there we go. Anyway, back to what we were discussing. I lost all track of my thought there. What were we? We were discussing the way the government works.
Thought we were discussing tacos. I got lost somewhere, Rick.
Yeah, I did too. I got lost too.
Oh yeah, pulled pork taco.
I like tacos.
Tacos sound like it's a unanimous.
75% of people like tacos.
I like tacos. I prefer soft shell, but I like tacos.
All right, will Biden win if he brings on a soft shell taco as his running mate then?
Got my vote.
I don't know. Is a taco a sandwich? Maybe we should start that debate.
No. Good Lord. You mentioned tacos and you derail Rick's whole chat. It's horrible. I
If
apologize,
it has
Rick.
meat on it,
Yeah.
then yes, it's a Mexican sandwich.
If we're aware of the fact that voting for Biden means we're voting for his running mate, if he's got a soft shell taco, I might vote for a soft shell taco.
I was thinking the same.
That's what I was thinking too. You know,
I thought Biden was a soft shell taco.
I think we should start a campaign, Soft Shell Taco 2020.
Be interesting to say. But then will the soft shell taco push for Mexican carry?
But it might make a run for the border.
Nice.
while you're talking about that, now that that CEO of how you pronounce it, Goya Foods, that Hispanic food manufacturer. I mean, he's taking a bunch of heat now for sticking up for the president. I noticed.
Goya makes a ton of stuff. I don't know if the industry that I'm in, Goya makes a lot of stuff you don't even know probably Goya makes. Let's put it that way. They do more than just Hispanic food. They make all kinds of dried foods and stuff.
Yeah, but you're right. But I mean, they're known for their Hispanic stuff. But where I'm going is, I mean, like when he was at the White House the other day, he said he's donating 1 million pounds of food to some food bank, you know, and God bless the president. And he's doing a great job. That's what everybody's up in arms about. You know,
I want to see
I hope he doesn't cave like all these other people do.
Well, I saw a article last night where he said he's not going to apologize.
Well, I hope he doesn't.
I hope not either. That's awesome what he's
That's
doing.
the problem. Everybody caves to peer pressure.
And honestly, even if he said it the other way and the shoe was on the other foot and people were saying, oh, well, you should apologize for speaking against the president or whatever, I would still respect the guy for sticking to what he said and saying, no, this is what I believe and I got the right to say it.
Well, he does have the right to say it. Free speech.
Exactly.
Unless it's not what they want to hear, then you're not allowed to say it. And I feel the country is so divided now. Or is that what we're made to believe? Come on, Kingpin. I know you're big on this one.
Well, like I said 1 million times, yesterday they were fake news. The only people who tell you who you should hate and who you should be afraid of are politicians and the media. I mean, really, how often does your best friend come over to you and say, hey, the people that live down the moved in down the bottom of the street, we should go hate them. You know, we need to be afraid of them. No, politicians and the media tell us who we should hate. If you go find me the racism, go find me the hatred, go find it for me, bring it back here, I'll change my opinion about this stuff.
Yep. Bingo.
Yeah. You're right. I mean, here it's you're right. Out here in rural Indiana where I'm at, I don't see none of this crap going on, what you see on the
Nope.
mainstream media. Everybody likes everybody, you know?
Think about this. This is the analogy I use all the time. We all live on Main Street, USA, and somebody new moves into the neighborhood and opens an ice cream shop, and they don't sell mayonnaise-flavored ice cream. That's not happening. But they open an ice cream shop, and everybody goes in there, and they got this really great ice cream, so it's packed every day for a month. Then suddenly he comes out and sticks a no blacks allowed, no Jews allowed, no women allowed, or whatever your minority group you want to put down in there, except for probably, straight white guys. They probably love that. How many people are going to go when they walk up and see no Jews allowed in my ice cream store? He'll never sell another scoop of ice cream, ever, because America will not stand for that stuff. If you put it out there, they always talk about the old the Skokie KKK or Nazi rally or whatever happened. They had their little rally. They walked down the street chanting and had their signs, and then a whole bunch of people stood alongside the road and pointed at them and laughed. because that's what you do to them. You look at them, you point at them, and laugh and ridicule them for being so stupid.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, you're right. I mean, back to what you're saying there is that I'm not saying there's not some people in this country who think that way, but as the years go by, it's getting less and less and less.
Mhm.
Well, that's the argument I make to everybody that I get onto this topic with is race relations have never been better than they are now in our country. It's people that want to try and divide us or try and make money by showing that, oh, there's all this bad stuff going on. Well, we don't have the problems that we did in the 60s. We don't have the problems that we did in the 70s. We don't have the problems that we did in the 80s. We're constantly getting better. Are we perfect? No. Is there still things that can be improved upon? Of course. But to say that, things are no better than they were when Dr. King was marching, that is absolute blasphemy.
Yeah.
It's massive disrespect for those that went through the civil rights movement. It all comes down to a matter of perspective, and that's human nature. You've got a lot of people nowadays that they see the quote unquote bad things that happen, and they don't have life experience. They have not studied their history. That gives them absolutely no perspective on it. So for them, it's horrible. It's terrible. It's bad. It's the worst thing ever. For people that have perspective, it's like, okay, it's bad. I agree. This is bad. Whatever, police brutality against, minorities. Horrible. But is it as bad as it was in the 60s or the 50s or the 30s or the 20s? No, it's considerably better, leaps and bounds better. So perspective.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And you also,
go on.
I was just going to say, you also have a lot of people that have never been told no. You got a lot of spoiled crybabies, adults, and obviously their kids can follow suit. So I would, you gotta. Who said that? I don't forget.
Let's take a look at the people who are saying how much America stinks and how racist it is, and it's rotten from the core. There's videos all over the place. Ami Horowitz is a good one that you can go check out on YouTube. You go down to, there's guys that I live right down the street from Baltimore. I've talked to them. DC, I've talked to those people. They all think America's great. Like all the people that the news tells us, the minorities and the poor who think America's racist and oppressive, they don't believe that. The people who keep screaming about how much America sucks, when they finish burning Seattle down or pulling some statue down in your town square, they go back to their $500,000 house and live with their rich parents and rich suburban neighborhoods with thousands and thousands of dollars worth of useless college debt. These are spoiled rich people that are saying America sucks. Hardworking regular people that made it. People that came from India with no money in their pocket and owned 15 7-Eleven. Sorry, that didn't mean to be racist there. But they don't think America sucks. They think America's pretty daggone awesome.
I don't disagree with that, Kingpin, but around here, I'll give another perspective on it. What aggravates me is a lot of the people around here that speak negatively about America, see all the horrible in the world, want draconian laws and legislation, from gun control to open borders to whatever it might be, right? The farthest to the left ideas. Those people that I see around here are people, they weren't born with a silver spoon in their mouth. And I'll give them that. They worked hard and they made their money and they have their 3-story house on the lake and all of them drive their freaking Mercedes and stuff around. But here's the problem that I have, and I've told them this face to face. We've had this discussion. I'm like, you know what? You came up in the greatest nation on earth. You made your mark. You made your fortune. You worked hard for it. And then now you're pushing to stifle everybody else. What is wrong with you? You made it. You achieved the American dream. And then now for some reason you have this mentality to where you want to kill that dream for everybody else. It makes no sense to me. And it's a totally different dynamic than born with a silver spoon in their mouth. Somebody that works hard and does it, and then one day wakes up rich and powerful and everything that they could ever want or dream of that they got because of this country, and then crap on it.
Yeah, you're right. Here's another one for you. In the last 50 years, 2 million black people from Africa have moved to the United States. Why would they come here if America is so racist?
And if you look at the statistics closer, those people who move here from Africa in modern times are killing it in the United States. They're some of the best students we have. I mean, just you can go down every different little social construct or whatever they call them issue, and those people are thriving here. And there's a whole bunch of, once again, go back to YouTube. There's a whole bunch of those people from Africa, like moved there here recently, that are going to these Black Lives Matter rallies and calling these people idiots, saying, no, this country is fantastic. Look what it did for me. LeBron James, for example. Clover was just talking about it. Somebody who worked his butt off. You can't be that good just on natural talent. You know, he's worked his butt off to become one of the best basketball players ever. Every chance he gets, he talks about how much America sucks, instead of saying, America sucks, but look how I beat it. Look at, you put in hard work, you keep your head down, you meet the right people, you know, whatever it might be. He doesn't want to tell his success story. He just wants to do like Clover said, put his millions of dollars in his pocket and talk about how much America sucks.
Yeah, I mean, what's his name's doing the same thing. Colin Kaepernick, he's doing the same thing.
You know, it kind of pisses me off because I've been to Africa, and it really is a third world shithole. Okay? It really is. When the president's sitting there and people are like, oh, he can't say that. Dude, it is. It is. All right? Over there, the biggest bully is in charge. The person with the most guns and the person who's... It's almost like the gangs. It's almost like the gangs in the inner city. The only thing is the biggest, baddest guy in the inner city wouldn't last 5 minutes in Africa. And that's the thing that I think people fail to understand. They have, like what Clover was talking about, perspective on understanding history. They also don't have a global perspective. Go over there and don't go to the tourist place. I mean, go to real places there and see how they live. See how when they roll into the village with 2 trucks full of guys with automatic weapons and they go, your son, and your son are now mine. And the father goes, no, you can't have my kids. And they shoot him dead in the street and then take the kids too. And they take all the food and everything else. And nobody does anything about it. You don't have that in America. So don't tell me that it's just so bad here. I mean, it's crazy how things are in other countries. That's why I'm glad that I'm an American. And I just think that, you know, maybe if some people knew the truth, they wouldn't think this place is so bad.
Well, yeah, you think about a lot of these immigrants that we were just talking about coming from there. Well, a lot of them are refugees escaping war-torn countries like the Congo and things like that. And then when they speak out and they say, you know, I completely support having a Second Amendment because, you know, in my country, you know, the only people that had them were the warlords and we were under their control. And then people here want to sit there and question why in the world they would think that. And then when they give them the reason, they denounce them like they're crazy and right wing, and instead of listening to the story that they're trying to tell.
Ilhan Omar could be the most popular politician in our country right now if she wasn't a radical. You know, she's a refugee. She came from what people say nothing. Well, Ilhan Omar had nothing where she was at, you know, except 99% chance of dying in the next couple minutes. She came to the United States and now she's a powerful elected official. She could be super popular if she wouldn't have said America sucks so bad, but hey, look, America did this for me and I want to give back to more people. I mean, she could have the American budget in the palm of her hand to do whatever she wanted to if she cared about helping people.
Yeah, it sounds to me all she wants to do is tear it down and make it like the country she just left. You know?
And that's something that happens with a lot of immigrants. They will say they hate America and they want it to be like where they came from. Well, then why the hell did you come over here? You came over here because you wanted the money and the freedom. Now that you've got the money and the freedom, though, you miss being at home, or you miss the things that maybe you liked about your home or that gave you power or an advantage or whatnot, well, then go back. And you go, well, no, I want both. Well, you don't get both. If we all got everything we wanted, it'd be an entirely different world. It just don't work that way. Love it or leave it.
When I was in school, I had a couple friends. There was a family that were from Nigeria that came over, and the dad was, I guess it was the uncle, was, a huge pharmacist, right? Worked for the hospitals and stuff. And every single one of them that came over are either pharmacists or, they work hard, because when you, just like, your grandparents told you, you work hard enough, you're not going to sit and focus, the idle hands and all that stuff. There's way too many people that are either they're not motivated, they're lazy, and then they got to have something to pick on. If you're working all the time and you're focused on stuff, you don't have time for all this extra garbage.
Yeah, I think also
the thing is, I've talked about this before on here.
We lost you.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm back or not. Am I?
Yeah. Mind you, what it comes down to is we need our education system here in this country sucks. We need to get it back to where people are being taught about. I mean, I've had it on this show, and a lot of you told me to go that fuck the rest of the world. But you need to know what the rest of the world's doing to understand how good you got it here.
Or at least what they've done, right? I mean, current events, not necessarily, but you need to know history. If you know history, you know that the whole idea of slavery is a huge thing, right? That's such a buzzword. Slavery has went on since humanity has existed and will continue to live on in some way, shape, form, or fashion across the world long after we're gone. It's something we constantly are going to have to deal with.
Say I disagree about something. I wouldn't put it on the schools. I think it's more, you need your parents to teach kids, because by the time you're 5 years old, you should know a lot of things. The history part, my kid could rattle off all sorts of useless facts that, to the school, it was like, Dad, they don't need to know who, Amelia Earhart and all these random facts. But you got time with your kids, you need to teach them, and don't rely on, Miss first name, because that's what they call teachers now, is just by their first name, like they're, best buds. Parents need to step up and actually do what they're supposed to. And they got to be parents there too. So I guess that's part of it. But I wouldn't rely only on a public school to do something. It's your responsibility to take care of your kids or your nephews or your, the neighbor kids, whatever. You can take time to actually do something and not rely on people that learned in the 60s that thought, hey, we don't need to do this because we can be progressive or whatever they do. And get involved with your schools.
I'll add to that, though, because it always seems to be like the right side of the aisle are the ones railing against the costs associated with education, how much we pay teachers, how much school districts are this, that, and the other thing and stuff. They always want to defund more schools when then bitch about how bad the education system is in the country. Well, you can't have it both ways. When you start, you want to cut budgets and slash budgets and stuff 40 kids in a building and, get into big centralized schools and then complain that they're not getting a quality education.
The issue with cutting the budgets isn't about trying to take away from the kids. It's the fact that the school systems are mismanaged. They don't have to produce anything to get paid. All they have to do is just put another millage on the ballot. If they were run like a company, I guarantee you, the good teachers would stay, the bad teachers would go in most cases. They'd have to be able to produce results. They'd be shopping around for the best price on school supplies or anything else they got, just like a regular, but instead it's your money and they don't have to be accountable for it. I have personally seen school systems waste money on everything. I think teachers should be well paid. The only reason I ever wanted to be a teacher is because you work half the year, you make $80,000 a year, and you get a big fat freaking pension when you leave. And there's a teacher out there going, that doesn't happen. Well, it used to happen here. Now it doesn't even happen here like that. But I wanted it for the pension and the fact that you don't have to hardly work 6 hours a day, 5 days a week, 6 months out of the year. Damn, I'll take that job pretty much doing anything. But it ain't like that no more. They need to get it back to where people want to be a teacher, even if it's just for the fat pension and the big fat paycheck. But they also need to be accountable. If the teacher sucks, you're gone. You're out. Why are you paying $50 a box for copy paper when my factory buys it for $27, the exact same brand? Because somebody's getting a kickback. So that's why people want to cut the budgets.
Just for a little example, 2015, just quick internet search, 2015, the Baltimore City public school budget was $1.32 billion. Now, let's put that in perspective. During the winter, they closed down Baltimore City schools because they don't have heat. During the summer, they closed down Baltimore City schools because they don't have air conditioning. Yet the budget is $1.32 billion. This was in 2015, so that's the quickest thing that came up on my computer. So yeah, there's absolute mismanagement. And once again, I mean, I sound like a broken record saying the government's the problem all the time, but the government's the problem all the time. Go back to when the Department of Education was established, and then you see the curve, like Dr. Fauci likes to say, start to dip. That's instead of being number 1 in the world in math, we're number 87 in the world in math, and all these different kinds of things because the government controls our schools. If you get into charter schools, if you can't kick the government completely out, let charter schools open, let more private schools open. Rob D was mentioning out in the chat, homeschooling if you can. You know, there's different types of avenues to go in, but until the government gets their clutches out of the schools, none of this stuff's going to stop.
And you also have to show up at the schools as parents, show that you know what's going on, so that they don't just kind of send out a newsletter and blow things off. Because it's guaranteed, if you show up there and you voice your opinions and you're not a jerk or something, it does help.
No, they don't care. You can go in there.
I did.
Yeah. Well, I did too.
Go ahead.
No, we got silence.
Uh-oh. No, I had the thing where they weren't talking about any of like the Patriots Day and Veterans Day, and would instead mention World Peace Day, the day after the 100th anniversary, and just horrible things. Well, then you cause enough problems, and the next time they had actually called in veterans, to actually go into school. So I mean, I'm sure there's some people that don't pay attention.
So, if we take the government out of schools, how do we fund them?
Exactly.
Well,
How are you going to fund schools? Not everybody. I send my daughter to a private school. It ain't freaking cheap. I can tell you that.
Can I ask a question? Because I hear that all the time, and I don't have the answer to it. But I hear that all the time. That if we privatize, if we take it out, can anybody hear me?
Yeah,
I hear you.
Okay. So if we privatize, if we take it out, how are we going to fund it? We funded stuff before it become a government thing, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know the answer to this, but if we funded it before, there's got to be an answer to funding it now.
I mean, there's less people now. I mean, there's more people now than there was then. Also, here's a good example. Take your school. I mean, I know people right here in Michigan, but take your school in the inner city. I mean, where are they going to get their money from? Because the unemployment is so high, nobody's paying taxes or anything. So how are they going to get the money to run the schools?
That's it right there.
So what you're saying is people in the inner cities, fuck their education.
Well, but they do pay sales taxes.
And I think people are more apt to spend their money wisely than the government ever will.
I disagree. Well, I don't disagree on you because the government's the worst at spending money. But
yeah, look at the post office. Have they made money in the last 100 years?
Exactly.
They just keep dumping it in there. So
I could see that changing it to sales taxes to fund the schools, but I don't know. I don't know what the answer is either. I'm just saying you have to have some way to fund everything.
If you care about it, you'll pay for it. That's how you fund it.
That's not true. What if you don't have the money to pay for your kids to have a good education?
Because there's going to be a public school there for you, and then you can do whatever else it takes to educate your children. It's the same
If you don't,
for my kid needs to go to school so they can get breakfast and lunch. If you got to rely on the school to feed your child, you already screwed up.
I agree with you, but the problem is it's not the child's fault. You can't blame. If you take every child that has shitty parents and write them off from the get-go, what are you going to do? They end up with a generation of shitty adults.
But Black Cat, those kids aren't my responsibility. I take care of my kids. What do? If you don't have the money to take care of your kids, you fucking find the fucking money or you don't have kids.
Oh, that's bullshit. And you know it.
And
you can't stop people from having fun. You're going to have shitty... Wait a minute. You're going to have shitty people having kids. So we're supposed to say, fuck the little kid.
Not my problem.
I understand that. It is a fucking societal problem. I don't give a shit if it's your problem or not. You chose not to have kids, that's your choice. But you can't just let children go. That's not what we do as a country.
That's the community's thing. That's why you get involved with your community, not the government. The community is not the government. Your church is not the government. People take care of people. You know somebody that's hurting, there's going to be somebody that steps up. That's why you get involved. It doesn't matter.
That's a great way to look at things, but it never works that way.
It did. Before the 50s, it did.
Yeah, well, it's 1920.
Yeah,
50 years later.
Well, yeah, because you have dads that drop their kids off.
Philo in the chat says, I remember coming to this country for a year of high school. I was 14. I was blown away. The kids seemed like idiots to me. They were still covering things I had been taught in elementary and middle school.
Yep.
Yeah,
we rank way low on education.
Oh, this country is sunk so low on education. It's embarrassing. It really is. And just wait, they're all illegal. All right, real quick.
The government on the school.
Where'd all this noise come? Is that you in the background there, Black Cat Outdoors?
Yeah, sorry. I was pumping fuel. I forgot to be.
All right. Anyway, real quick. I'm going to... my quiz from last week. I had 3 entries, I believe. Let make sure. Let me just double check to make sure. No, I lied. 4. And the question was, in the movie Shooter, in the opening scene in Ethiopia, Swagger, which is Mark Wahlberg, is seen firing two rifles, and I wanted to know what they were. The answer was a Barrett M82A1M and a M40A3 sniper rifle. That was the answer I got. And let me hit my thing here for my winner. Where is it? Here it is. Okay, click the button. Boom. John Brown Productions is the winner. JBP is the winner. So
congratulations. You sure it wasn't a brown bass?
Positive. Oh. Positive. Okay, real quick for this week's quiz. Now, I got some bad news, guys. This is the last one until I can collect some more swag. I'm scraping the barrel here. I don't want to start giving away my patches on the wall. You know what I'm saying? I might have to.
So, no need for that.
All right. Here's the one I want. Here's one for you. For the next week's quiz. This is mail-in quiz. Here you go. What handgun did the lead actor, Chief John Anderton, played by Tom Cruise, use in the movie Minority Report? So what was the handgun used by Tom Cruise in Minority Report? email me at rickslifeasiseeit@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. And I can't. One of our subscribers sent that question in to me. I'll have to go back to see who it was, so you can't enter. So yeah, so email me that by 12 o'clock next Saturday, Eastern time, the only time zone that matters. Okay, where were we? Talk to me, people.
Hey, Rick, did you get any more submissions in your email?
No.
Okay.
The only one I've got so far is Sabrina.
All right, there's 9 more slots.
Oh, hang on a minute. Just let me double check and make sure anything's come in. Nope, she's the only one.
All right, if anybody has any topics, make sure you mail them to Rick's Life as I See It. And like I said, the first 10, I'll send some stuff out.
Oh, so there you go. All right. Oh, Philo said he transferred from an Italian middle school. So yeah. I mean, as much as we complain about Europe, some of their education is a lot higher than ours today. You know. So there we go. What else you guys want to talk about?
I was really enjoying the taco topic.
You were, huh?
Week.
Do what?
You could do a cut of the week.
Yeah, I could, but I'm not going to because I didn't think of one. You know? But I tell you what I am having this afternoon. I mentioned this before. I'm having boneless, skinless chicken breasts. And all I'm putting on them is salt and pepper and some old seasoning on it. That's it. Throw it on the grill.
There you go.
About 5 minutes each side. And that's done. Now, I haven't decided whether to cut it into strips and throw it on a salad or just, put it between a slice of bread and call that sandwich.
Are these pre-cooked ones that are frozen, or are these going to be raw? Because if it's raw, I don't know if 5 minutes on each side is going to be quite enough.
They're raw. I would say, they're not very thick. Also, they're very thin.
No, okay.
Yeah.
Because
I was thinking like a regular.
No, they like a
chicken breast.
No, yeah, they've been sliced,
split
in half to make them really thin.
Split breast. What you're talking about?
Do you know Ozark Yeoman, Rick?
No, I've heard the name.
I'll send you an email with a link to his YouTube channel. He's a really good dude. He just put out a video like a day or two ago on the diet plan that he's on. He's lost 100 pounds so far, and he talks about real briefly in his video the things that he's done. And he's totally 100% a cool dude. Like if you left a comment and were like, "Hey, I'd like to talk to you about some diet tips," he's absolutely willing to help you out. Like I guarantee, I know I don't mean to speak for him, but I'm going to speak for him. He's a really good dude, and I know he'd help you out if you're interested.
Okay, thanks, appreciate it.
I've lost 35 since SHOT Show. So,
yeah, I've noticed you've been looking a bit thinner in your videos.
Working on it.
Yeah.
And it's I can tell you right now, it ain't for going to the gym. It's mainly just diet, changing diet.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing slowly.
And the thing is, everybody has to find what works for them because we're all different, And so even what works for you is not going to work for you long term, right? Because when I first started out, I went low carb. Well, ended up I had to, I started taking a look because you'll lose a little and you'll plateau, right? You'll lose a little and you'll plateau. And that's with everybody. You can't just say, okay, I'm going to cut out X, Y, and Z. The rest, who wants to do that the rest of their life, first of all? But you can't say I'm going to cut out X, Y, Z. Eventually you're going to plateau because X, Y, Z is only causing so much weight, right? Weight gain. So, for me, it was, okay, I'm going to go low carb. And so I went low carb, and then I plateaued, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? And then so I started tracking what I was eating and actually paying attention to things. There's all kinds of cool apps and things out there, by the way, to help with this, where you can literally scan labels on products and stuff. But started paying attention, and it was sugar content was probably my biggest thing. My biggest thing was sugar. And so I was like, okay, we're going to cut sugar near zero. It's hard to go absolute no sugar, but because you've got natural sugars and stuff, right, in things. So I cut sugar, virtually to zero, but then I plateaued again, and it's like, okay, I got to lower. I lowered carbs at that point some more, and it was like, okay, this isn't working. And then I got to pay attention to my calories. So then I had to go. So my advice for anybody on a diet, just from my journey the last few months and what I've been on, is pay attention to your body, track what all is going on and what you're eating. And it's not that difficult to figure out your own personalized diet plan.
Yeah, Ozark said a lot of the same stuff Clover was just talking. Like, he even talked about the sugars and the I guess they're called processed foods, like all the ready-made stuff that we buy all the time.
Yeah.
It's got no nutrients in it because it's cooked at such a high level. But by the time it's shipped to the grocery store, it's basically just filler.
Well, there's different kinds of sugars. There's different kinds of carbs, right? And so your body reacts to certain sugars and carbs, a specific way, and we're all different. So, yeah, it's just a matter of figuring out what's the bad sugars for you. Unfortunately for me, it's most of them. And then figuring out what's good carbs, what's bad carbs. Because I could, I eat bread. I mean, there's almost not a day goes by that I don't eat a sandwich. Now I got to get the Sara Lee 45 calorie light, blah, 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 blah. That's no sugar and really low carb. But that particular bread, it's, wheat bread and this, that, and the other. It's like I said, it's a carb that doesn't affect me like other carbs do.
Some of it could do with just the time of day they're eating carbs. Like eating a carb for breakfast or lunch is fine, but like eating carbs right before you go to bed, your body doesn't even process.
Yeah,
that's
and a lot of people,
horrible thing.
And other people, like there's good and bad carbs, there's good and bad fat as well. And I've realized, I plateaued recently, a few weeks back or something like that, and got to re-examining things, and I wasn't getting that much good fat. And as I started increasing it sounds weird to say I'm increasing my fat, the fats that I intake, but it's the good fat that I'm increasing in, and that's actually, everything jacks with your metabolism and screws with how your body works and everything. And so increasing the good fats is actually helping me lose weight. So it's really weird. You'll find a lot of interesting things out about yourself and your body and food. And it's really cool if you do it and stay committed to it. And staying committed to it's the biggest thing. That's 100% everybody's problem. What I do is I used to, when I first started mine, I was depressed on cheat days, right? It's like, okay, birthday party or special occasion or something like that. And I'd go out and I'd eat this food, and I would feel horrible afterwards, and not just physically, but mentally, right? It's like, man, I've lost all this weight. I've, paid attention to everything. Now I've fallen off the wagon, and now I'm depressed because I've, cheated on my diet and this, that, and the other. And I've got a completely different perspective on cheat days now, because I found out that I can eat for cheat days pretty much anything I want all day long. And what I do is I set it up goal oriented. So it's like, okay, I'm going to get to this point, and once I'm maintaining this point for a few days, then I'll have a cheat day, right? And so I put a positive spin on it with it being goal oriented instead of just happenstance and I cheated. I put a positive spin that it's a reward, right? This is a reward for me getting this goal. And then you get it, and so you've got a little more positive attitude with it. And with that positive attitude, I've noticed also that it doesn't really affect my overall weight. That cheat does. So before, when I was getting depressed and I was upset and everything else, okay, it affected me maybe a pound or two for a couple of days, but I was so mentally depressed over the idea of breaking my diet that it made it a bigger deal, bloated out of proportion, and it made it a bigger deal than what it is. So just understand going in that having those cheat days and stuff like that, it's important to do. I mean, you need to do that. That gives your body, it kind of does shock and awe with your body a little bit. And sometimes that can help you get over a plateau as well. If you're kind of stagnant, go out, have a cheat day. It gives that throat punch, so to speak, to your body. And then you'll pick back up on your diet and go along. I hate to be the dietary expert here today, but
that's fine.
But I've enjoyed my journey, you know.
Yeah, I've lost a few pounds since I started this cutting back on stuff. And as I said it on Wednesday. I mean, instead of eating a bag of potato chips or a bowl of ice cream, I've been eating apples and celery sticks in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
You know, starting on little stuff like that, and I've lost a few pounds already.
Do you like pudding, Rick?
Do what?
Do you like pudding?
Yeah.
Man, Snack Pack has a zero sugar and sugar-free pudding. They got chocolate and vanilla. Ghost tells me they've got a swirl. I haven't found it in my area. And then they've also got Jell-O. But for me, yeah, I mean, I loved ice cream too. And I could take those puddings or even the Jell-O and stick those in the freezer, get them really, really cold. I don't necessarily like them frozen, you know.
Yeah.
But get them really, really cold, and those work really well for that ice cream sweet tooth craving. I'll tell you another thing that I've really enjoyed as far as the ice cream end of things that you can do. You have to be careful watching the calories on this, but you could get sugar-free Cool Whip and strawberries, or really any kind of berry. And for me, I like strawberries. And so what I'll do is I will take a sugar-free Cool Whip. I'd put a little bit in a bowl. I would slice me up some fresh strawberries. I don't like the frozen ones, but good fresh strawberries are amazing. And I would slice me up some fresh strawberries in there, mix it in, and put that in the freezer till it starts kind of to solidify a little more. And that's almost like a strawberry ice cream. I mean, it's great.
That sounds good, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
You got to watch how much Cool Whip you use. So have your measuring spoons and your other things, and measure that out. You don't want to fill a big, huge bowl with it because that would be too much calories and defeat the purpose.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, we're going to wind this down. Let's go through the chat here for any plugs or shout outs. Squib, you got any?
No.
Did you manage to cut the branch off the tree?
I've been up here the whole time getting plenty of exercise where you guys are talking about not eating as much. I eat whatever the hell I want. I definitely sweated it off. I better balance it out with a few beers later. But yeah, I'm surprised I haven't fallen to my death, you know. But I got to cut these tree branches back to keep them from growing into the cable TV, the power lines, and to get more light into my garden. So, all this stuff about global warming and all the other BS. Well, tell that to the plants, man. They're growing like crazy, and I'm in Michigan.
Be careful up there, Squib.
Yeah, don't worry. If I fall and die, that's just one less asshole.
Yeah. Be careful the governor doesn't ban sowing trees.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. All right, where are we at now? Guns and Barbecue. Any shout out to plugs?
I'm actually going to plug you, Rick. You put on a great show and good panel every week. Twice a week. As you always say at the beginning of the show, you got Patreon and all that good stuff. Well, anybody listening, head over to Patreon. Throw them a buck or so. Help support. The trivia question and all that, with the swag packs, and it'll go a long way. I know he doesn't have a whole lot of patrons or anything. I recently became one. A lot of these guys that are creating content and giving away things, it comes out of their own pocket. So try and support them.
Thank you. Kingpin, you got anything?
Check out G23 later tonight, 6 p.m. And just if you fall out of the tree, Squibby, do like I do and just land on your head. You'll be fine.
Clover.
That's probably the best thing for me to do. I'm so hard-headed, it might actually work. Thanks.
Yeah. Clover, any shout-outs or plugs?
I just want to say thanks for the invite in the show. I mean, it's always fun on this one. And to your talking about your swag and stuff, shoot me, because I use almost specifically primarily whatever Gmail now. I've kind of got everything forwarded over there just because it's easier to access from everywhere. But shoot me your address, Rick. That way I've got it, and I will try to rustle you up a little care package.
Okay. What email were you using for you now?
Shoot it to clovertack@gmail.com. Any of the ones any of the emails anybody has works. I'm just saying they all go into my Gmail, so I may or may not be able to find a previous email that you sent me your address or something. So please resend me your address so I've got it. I've got to mail some stuff out first part of next week, and I'll try to rustle you up a few things.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. I'll do that. Patriot in the Dark. Any shout outs or plugs?
Just thanks, Rick. Really appreciate it. Make sure that if you have any trivia questions, send them to Rick. And there's 9 more slots. I got all these patches from last year I'm trying to get rid of. But I did get new stickers now. And all my fancy patrons, they'll get one shortly. As long as the stamp stays on the envelope. My daughter helped me out. She stuck it on the right side, public schools, instead of she stuck it on the left side instead of the right side. So anyways, hopefully it'll get to you guys. And just stay positive and teach a kid something.
All right. And Black Cat Outdoors. Anything?
Thanks for having me on, Rick. Sorry about my audio all day. It's been an ongoing thing all day for some reason.
No problem. I appreciate you being here. And I want to say thank you to everybody in the chat for stopping by on a hot Saturday afternoon. I really do appreciate it. And thanks for all the input. And I will be back on Wednesday at 7 p.m. with Shooting with Disabilities. I need some questions. I got a few. Sabrina sent me some. So if anybody else has got any, please send them to me. Not only that is, you'll win a patch from Patriot in the Dark if you do. So, all right. So I want to say thank you to everybody for being here, and we'll see you all on Wednesday. And all have a good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. So goodbye, everybody.
Happy birthday, Sabrina.